Hello everyone, welcome back to day 3 of our standing strength and balance exercises. We're going to introduce strength in this session today. I'm just going to do a quick recap on what we covered on the previous 2 days. We did our warm-up, so we stressed the importance of making sure we're nice and warm before we do any challenging exercises. The mobility aspect, so we did our heel to toes, our shoulder rolls, and we made sure generally that we have more freedom of movement in our joints. Stiffness is reduced, and we are prepped for the more challenging aspects of exercise. And yesterday we covered endurance. I'm sure some of you are maybe feeling a little bit of those, a little bit of tenderness in the thighs, in the calves, in the arms, as a result of some muscle soreness, which is primarily good for our heart and our lung health, keeping our stamina, keeping us going, keeping us moving for longer duration, longer bouts of movement. So we're going to jump straight into it. I'm going to, like I said, introduce some strength components, and we're going to start today from a seated position. Let me get in frame again so everyone can see me. If we are a little bit relaxed in our chair, please, I invite you to hip walk to the first third of your chair. Nice tall back, open chest, nice high head. What we're going to do here is we're going to get a little bit of blood flowing to our arms. So this time we're going to start with our arm swings. Getting some movement in there. Really good. Remember, the objective of the warm-up is, like it says on the tin, getting us nice and warm, getting some blood flowing to the arms. Even wiggle your fingers at the end, making sure the heart rate, we're just picking that up now. Really good. We're going to transfer that down to the legs now in a moment in 3 and 2 and 1. Relax the arms into some leg marches. I like to hold my hands on the side of the chair for extra stability, or I like to have my hands on my thighs, making sure those muscles are working. Excellent stuff. Going from toe to heel, toe to heel. We're not slamming the feet on the floor. Nice and gentle. 3, 2, 1. Little challenge. Can we get the arms going at the same time just for a little bit in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And a little relax there. So the heart nice and elevated now. Warm blood being delivered to those arms, to those legs. So we're actually going to engage in mobility exercises from a seated position today, just to give a different perspective, and also to emphasize that anything we can do standing, we can also do from the comfort of our chairs, ladies and gentlemen. If we are a little bit sore from yesterday, please take a seat and we can do our mobility from the seated position. Just to give you a profile view so we can see what I'm doing, we're going to start with our toe taps. So we've got heel on the floor, pointing that toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, and toe. You can see I'm hitting the same spot. I'm taking that ankle joint for the full range of motion, full range of movement. We want about 4 reps on either side. Again, making sure you have a good view. Heel on the floor, point that toe. Heel, toe, heel, toe. Last one, heel and toe. Really good. Stops that shuffling in the morning when we're going to the shower, or if we're trying to move from place to place. We can also get in a bad habit of shuffling the feet, not picking them up to clear the ground more easily, excuse me. What we're going to move on to now is some other mobility exercises from the seated position, which includes, we haven't really talked about the spine, the back, which has so much movement in itself. We're going to begin with some side bends. Sitting up nice and tall, back straight, open chest, head nice and high. Hands can go on either side of your chairs. I want you to imagine on your right side you've got a cup of tea, and on your left side you've got a cup of coffee. And all we're going to do is reach down nice and gently as far as we're comfortable and back up. Opposite side, reaching down. You're going to feel a stretch coming down this side and up. We're reaching down for that tea, coming up, reaching for that coffee, and up. Back for the tea, and middle, and down for the coffee, and center. Once more on either side, reaching down, feeling the stretch coming down this side, and center. Opposite side, reaching down, feeling that stretch, and center. Really, really good. Like I said, those are good examples where you can see the facility of that particular movement. You've dropped your remote control, you're trying to reach something down on the floor. You're going to need some of that movement in the spine to be able to reach down from those positions. So really important that we're engaging and mobilizing the spine in that particular dynamic. What we're going to do now, we're going to come onto our standing position and engage in some strength exercises. Now, before I do so, I will explain if we are seated. So we just did our side bends now. When we're coming up to a standing position, we want to hip walk to the front third of the chair, sitting up nice and tall. Heels, we want to tuck them in. Feet are tucked up underneath us. Hands on either side of the chair. Nose over toes. I want you to see from a profile view what this looks like. So my heels are in, hands on either side, nose are over toes. We're pushing through the balls of our feet, through the palms up to a seated position. And what do we do when we stand? Ladies and gents, we paddle the feet. We paddle the feet, making sure that blood is coming up towards the brain, oxygenating. We're not getting dizzy, we're not feeling faint. And take as long as you need to come to standing. The importance of the sit to stand is that it actually acts as a strength exercise. We're going to come back to that in a moment, but I do want to show you how we have a natural kind of structure to our lessons, to our exercise classes. Once we have come up from a standing position, we take as many steps as we need, we come round the back of the chair. And from this position, we would normally engage in our endurance component, the component we did yesterday. This would include a roughly 5 to 7 minute bout of continuous movement, elevating the heart rate, engaging the lungs, and generally working on our stamina, the ability for us to be moving for longer periods of time without rest, with a small blip of intensity. I'm sure you wouldn't have forgotten because it's quite challenging. So from here, it's not going to be the focal point today, but I would encourage you to do some endurance. So we did our leg marches, we did some arm swings as well. We always have a support option here. We then did our side steps, and we also did some toe taps as well. And you will also remember some sprints to get a little bit of peak intensity going there. That isn't the focal point today. We only have 20 minutes. So I'm going to press on to the strength component of this exercise. But I would hope you're in a position now where you're warm, you're able and ready to go on to the strength component. So I'm going to take you back to your seated position. We're going to begin the strength component with our sit to stands. We should be hopefully familiar with the sit to stands by now. Just going to make sure we can all see. This is something I've emphasized in the previous lessons, but again, we're going to turn this into a strength exercise. We're going to do our sit to stands 5 times. This is a great exercise for breaking up periods of sedentary behavior. I framed the 10 video selection at the start by saying, in this period of isolation, staying at home, increased time can be spent watching the television, sat down, not doing very much. So using the sit to stand is really great for breaking up those times spent in inactivity. What we can do, if there are adverts on, we can again shuffle to the third of our chair, making sure the heels are underneath us. Hands are on either side of the chair, nose over toes, and on 3 and 2 and 1, we can push up through the heels, paddling the feet. Really good. Making sure again we're pushing that blood up towards the head and come to standing. We're going to do 5 reps, so we can take a couple steps back, making sure we're feeling the chair with the backs of our knees. Bottoms coming back, hands come to meet the chair, and safely coming back to a seated position. Shuffling forwards again to the front third. So we've done 1. I'm going to go into 2. Making sure those feet are underneath us. Hands are on either side. Or, like I said before, if you have an armchair, hands can be on either side of the armchair. And we're going to do this on 3 and 2 and 1. Pushing through the heels and the palms, coming up to standing. And we're here, paddling the feet, making sure we're oxygenating the brain. Really good. 2. So we're coming back. Feel the base of the chair with the backs of our knees. Bottom coming back, hand comes to meet the chair. We're here again, shuffling forward for the 3rd time. On the edge of the chair, heels underneath, hands either side of the chair. We're really looking to come up to that standing position now. Nose over toes, really pushing through those heels up. Paddling the feet again, really good. Because we're nice and warm after our endurance component, we have a lot more strength in those working muscles. You have 20% more strength in muscles that are warm than they are cold. So it's really, really crucial that the muscles in the front of the thigh, back of the thigh, calves, even the buttock area are nice and warm. Take a couple steps back, feel the base of the chair, back of the knees, push the bottom, hand comes to meet the chair, and relax. Coming forward for 4. I hope you're keeping count. I'm terrible at it. Heels underneath us, hands either side, nose over toes. And you can even feel, just before you get up, the pressure in the base of your heels as you're ready to come up to that standing position. 3 and 2 and 1. Pushing through the palms, base of the heels, up nice and tall, open chest, head nice and high, paddling the feet, really, really good. Coming for our 5th time now, a couple steps backwards, feeling the chair, back of the knees, bottoms coming back, hand comes to meet the chair, and we're here again. Hip walk, last time. Front third, heels underneath us, hands either side, nose over toes, and again, ready to pop up from that position. 3 and 2 and 1, pushing through the palms, base of the heels, up nice and tall, nice open chest, little paddle, and we'll relax there. This puts us in a really good position to come round the back of the chair now. So we've done 5 reps, we come round the back of the chair, and we're ready for our 2nd strength exercise, which I'll introduce in a moment. I just want to re-emphasize again, we can use the sit to stand to break up periods of watching TV for a long time. It's recommended we stand up at least once every hour. What I like to do is stand up every time there's an advert on television. So every time an advert comes on, we can easily, if I'm sat here on my comfy couch, I can shuffle to the end of my chair. I can bring my heels underneath me. I can get my hands on either side, and I can go 3 and 2 and 1, and I can come up nice and tall. I can paddle the feet. I'm still watching the television. I haven't missed anything other than those pesky adverts. And then I can come back, I can feel the chair, I can push the bottom back, hand comes to meet the chair, and I'm back relaxed, watching whatever show I was watching. So, we're gonna come back now to the 2nd strength exercise I want to invite you to engage in, which are heel raises, up on our tiptoes. Hopefully you've got a good profile view of me here. You can see my feet. We have our support option here. Like I always emphasize, ladies and gentlemen, some people like to have 2 hands, 1 hand. The really confident show-offs have no hands. I like to have 2 hands. I want you to take a look now at my ankles, my feet. My chest is open, my back is nice and tall, my head is high. I'm pushing through that big toe up nice and tall, and I'm controlling this downwards. We're going to do about 5 again. We're going to stay with an even 5 because I'm just introducing the exercise now. I want us to be familiar with the movements before we start adding more reps and making it a little bit more challenging. But again, ladies and gentlemen, if you really get a good profile view of me, my chest is open, my back's nice and straight, I have my hands on the support, and I'm thinking about my big toe. I'm thinking about pushing through that big toe. So I'm up nice and tall, but I'm controlling this downwards. I'm not jerking downwards. I'm coming up and I'm coming down under control. Really important to stress that. Because the surface area is reduced when you're on your toes, you might feel a little bit wobbly, but that's why a support option is here, okay? Number 3, pushing up on those big toes, feeling the contraction at the back of the calves, coming down, really good. You're gonna feel that pressure in the lower leg as your calf contracts. It's very, very natural. Number 4, pushing up through that big toe, nice and tall, head high, control downwards, really, really good. Last one now, pushing up into that big toe, pause and control, really, really good. Excellent stuff. So you're going to notice there, again, like I emphasized, the contraction in the back of the calf in this kind of area here. And that is the muscle that's working when we're coming up onto our tiptoes. It's very challenging. Like I said, I'm going to emphasize and stress that we're just learning the movements first, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting familiar with the sit to stands, and we're getting familiar with coming up onto that big toe. What we're going to do now, we're going to go into our stretches. So take as many steps as you need, come round the front of the chair, and how do we sit down? We feel for the back of the feel with the back of the knees. We push the bottom back, come to a seated position, making sure our hands are meeting the chair. We're going to go over some stretches, but what is very important is that sometimes we can feel a little bit cold, especially if we haven't if we haven't been constantly moving, like the endurance component makes us nice and warm. So it's always good to have a re-warm before we stretch. So again, sitting up nice and tall, open chest, nice high head. We have a little march, making sure the muscles in our legs are nice and warm. Really good. And then we can pause, we can move on to the arms a little bit, get that blood flowing. Excellent stuff. 3, 2, 1, a little relax. So let's go into our stretches now. Muscles like being warm when they're stretched. Leg of your choice, nice and long, one bent knee. Hands, ladies and gents, on that bent knee. Again, being very mindful of our chest. We're keeping our eyes on the horizon. We're just coming over that bent knee. You're going to feel the tension come here, back of the thigh. Once you've found it, hold it there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming up nice and tall. I hope you all felt that. Opposite leg now, nice and long. Again, I want to make sure we're all seeing myself. Leg nice and long, one bent knee, hands are going to be resting on that bent knee, chest is coming forward, feeling that tension down the back of the thigh, holding that position there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back up. Excellent. We're going to introduce one more stretch now. We were up on our tiptoes, remember, for our heel raises. So we're going to do a stretch for the calves now. We're in a good position to see. Very similar to the back of thigh stretch. Leg of your choice, nice and long. But this time I want us to think about that big toe. That big toe is coming up towards us. And you're going to feel tension in the back of the calf. If you can't feel it, gently put some pressure through the base of the heel into the floor, and you should really feel that stretch. And we hold that position there again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax for me there. Opposite side so everyone can see. Nice long leg again, making sure that toe, we're hooking that toe up towards us. You're gonna feel that tension back of the lower leg. If you can't feel, push through the heel into the base of the floor, and you're gonna feel that calf holding there again. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Excellent stuff. All finished. So, just gonna recap on what we've done today. We introduced some strength components. We looked at how we can use our sit to stand to break up periods of sedentary behavior, and how it can actually act as a strength exercise. If you do 5 sit to stands consecutively, you're gonna feel muscles in the front of the thigh working, back of the thigh, buttocks as well. They're all going to be working as really, really strong and effective exercise to engage the lower limbs. And also we can't forget about the calves as well, up on the tiptoes, where that really is a lower body workout. It's very important for things like walking, when we think about things like going up the stairs, sitting up, of course, from a seated position, really, really helps with anything we do with our legs, essentially. So we'll conclude there. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Again, I'm going to emphasize that if you do feel a little bit sore, if you haven't done exercise as such for long periods of time, tomorrow you will notice a little bit of muscle soreness in the upper and lower legs. Perfectly normal. Just the body's way of communicating. We've done some work, we're getting stronger, we're building up those muscles, and it's all good. It's all natural. So don't complain that I've broken you. I hope you enjoyed, and tomorrow, next session, we'll start to develop a little bit more on the aspects of strength. Perhaps I'm going to introduce some balance components. We may feel a little bit wobbly, but that's all good. I'm here to help and make sure we're all doing it correctly with good form. So I will see you next time. Thanks again. Be safe, be happy, and be well.